What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a preview of the updates and weekly reset coming up for Destiny 2 on the 23rd of September. So as we head into this week, of course, content rotates in the portal, more specifically with the featured live events in the game right now. That does affect some of the rewards that we're able to earn, so we'll round up what we know about that. Otherwise, we have additional updates and heads up from Bungie regarding the progress of upcoming changes in the game, any patch things related to this week. Then we get additional weekly challenges. And given that this is the first week without any event content since Ash and Iron launched, we'll also go over the upcoming roadmap and some expectations on that front. But otherwise, we've got featured rewards and all that good stuff to cover in the video. So if you guys find this one helpful, a rating below very much helps me out on the channel. Otherwise, let's get into it. First thing to be aware of this week, outside of actual gameplay content, we are getting another patch for the game. We've had plenty of these, almost every week since Edge of Fate actually dropped. And this Tuesday's update will be 9102, where Bungie are buffing up raid rewards and legacy raid and dungeon content to allow us to farm exotics. So firstly, for Desert Perpetual, they're increasing power gains by completing encounters in the raid between 3 and 500 power, regardless of the number of feats active. And for players beyond 500 power, 4+ feat raids will drop additional power, so that'll be useful. Also, they say raid rewards will start dropping at tier 3, with additional feats increasing the chances for tier upgrades, so I assume that means we will never get anything lower than tier 3. Otherwise, they say the Cutthroat Combatant modifier will now count as 2 feats when determining reward quality, so that mod will have some extra potency, essentially. And a good thing for anyone catching up on older raid exotics, things from previous years, Bungie are removing the friction to earn exotic weapons in legacy raid and dungeon activities, and they will now have a chance to drop each time their source encounter is completed, so basically that will make them entirely farmable like they used to be when we had featured raids, but this will apply to essentially all of the legacy raid and dungeon content, which is really good. So outside of those changes, Bungie have said they plan to do more to improve the power climb in general. But we'll just wait and see what those changes actually are when they get them in the game, because they've said this on an almost weekly basis, and almost every patch that we've had has done some kind of something to power gains, but only in very small increments. Otherwise, I'll keep you posted with other patch changes when we get to the notes on Tuesday. Next up though, onto content things this week. Of course, Iron Banner will go away with the weekly reset on the 23rd. More on that in just a moment. In terms of Kepler content, if you're farming for any tier 5s, keep in mind, clearing the Mythic difficulty weekly missions will guarantee a tier 5 drop based on your power level. I think you have to be 350 power with the upgrades from the Altar of Relativity, wherever it is. So keep that in mind if you're after some tier 5s from Kepler. Otherwise, with event content rotating, of course, Iron Banner will conclude at weekly reset. That does mean that it'll be the first week where we can no longer earn the Submersion crossbow, because that is related to current events live in the game. So the first week it was available through the Reclaim event, or Call to Arms, or whatever it was called. The second week we had it available for Iron Banner, albeit at a very low drop rate. But just bear in mind, as we head into week 3 of Ash and Iron right here, it will no longer be able to drop as far as we understand it. But we will get other upcoming events which are able to drop it, so a quick roadmap right here worth bearing in mind. Iron Banner was September 16th, but Arms Week will return, focusing on shotguns for the week of October 17th. Then we'll have Festival of the Lost in October as well, which will be the weeks of October 21st and 28th. And during those weeks, once again, there will be the ability to earn the crossbow. Then at the end of Ash and Iron, right before Renegades, Bungie will have an additional event which actually allows us to effectively farm for the crossbow, so it will ultimately get easier. Separate to event content though, additionally, bear in mind there will be a sandbox update with some sort of ability tuning and stuff, as well as the launch of the exotic mission on October 7th. So that's a bit of a preview of what's coming up over the course of the next month. And otherwise, we get on to this week's seasonal challenges. So this is week 3 of Ash and Iron. Firstly, there's Vanguard Supply Recovery 3 to find all of the missives attached to Golden Age caches in the following fire team mobs. That includes Hypernet Current and Battleground Behemoth. Then there's Pinnacle Missives Discovered 3. That's basically to find the ones in Node Override Avalon and the Duality Nightmare of Galron encounter. We also have Reclaim Missives Discovered 3. Man, this is bonkers. Bunker Triglav and the Rocket Yard inside of the Reclaim activity, where there'll be additional collectibles to find this week. Otherwise, we have Splat to get Sparrow Final Blows in Crucible Vanguard or Gambit playlist activities. There is bonus progress granted for dealing final blows to Guardians. And then we have Trial by Firing Squad to win multiple rounds in Trials of Osiris. This will have an additional Trials of Osiris weapon reward for the week, so worth keeping that one in mind. Otherwise, there is Kinetic Forces to get final blows with kinetic weapons, and bonus progress there is granted for defeating Guardians once again. Plus, obviously, with Iron Banner no longer in rotation and Trials returning this weekend, many more players are now at the kind of power levels that are going to start rewarding Tier 5 gears, so enjoy that if you're able to jump in. Otherwise, on the world map, keep in mind, if you want to run any of the legacy raids or dungeon content, we can still farm for legendary gear inside of them, but with the patch changes coming this week, we will also be able to start infinitely farming for their exotics. So if you need any of those, it's a good reason to go back into the older raids. It must be almost nice, in a sense, to still have something to chase from those raids, right? I definitely miss that weekly component of hunting stuff down in them, but with the absence of tiered rewards, if you already have everything, obviously, they're not especially rewarding, but nonetheless, good for folks who need to catch up. The last mention in the Dreaming City this week will be that the Ascendant Challenge is the Shattered Ruins, which can be found via the Spine of Keres. So if you're still completing those, either for fun or any other kind of utility, grinding for titles and stuff, we will run a clip at the end of the video that shows the location of that one this week. But for the moment, guys, that's what we have to round up for Weekly Reset. So let me know if you plan to jump in again this week. I will keep you posted on any additional updates that we might get from Bungie. Look at that, Pinnacle Ops gear, Tier 5 from Hawthorne. I can't say I've ever seen one of those before. Very nice indeed. Wow, caught me off guard with that one. But yeah, get subbed, I'll keep you posted with any updates from Bungie. If you enjoyed the video, a rating really does help me out on the channel. But for now, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.